Welcome to the Beowulf Bash scripting class. In this section, we will expand on what has been discussed earlier about shells. As we have seen previously, a shell is defined by these elements. A shell level, starting with 1 and incrementing upward. A directory location, as shown by the pwd command. A set of defined variables, both regular and exported to the environment. A set of processes or jobs, and a set of options for the shell. This video will discuss shell options. Shell options allow you to configure certain features of the shell. Shell options are Boolean, meaning the option is either enabled or disabled. Such features include disabling accidental overwriting of files with the no clobber option, exiting the shell upon any command failures with the error exit option, allowing recall of previously run commands with the history option, automatic notification of background job completion with the notify option, and many more. So how does this work? For historical reasons, shell options are defined with two commands, set and shellopt. The options themselves are split into two groups, the old group belonging to set and the new group belonging to shellopt. Because Bash inherited the old options from the Bourne shell, all of the old group options can be configured using shellopt as well. Old options are displayed and configured using the set command with either the +O switch or the -O switch. The same old options can be displayed as well with the command shellopt-O. The new options are displayed and configured using the shellopt command alone. This is all very confusing. A real demonstration should help explain what I've been talking about so far. What are the old options? Type set -O. Set -O displays all the old options and their current settings. What happens when we use +O instead of -O? With +O, set displays all the old options using the command that will configure them to their current state. For now, keep this little tidbit in the back of your mind. How do we display the new options? Type shellopt or shopt. I mentioned that you can display the old options as well with shellopt. Type shellopt -O to display the old options with shellopt. So how might we display the new options in a way similar to set +O? Type shellopt with the -P option. And what happens when we include the -O option to shellopt? Shellopt-P-O displays exactly the same commands as the set +O command. You might now be asking the question, what exactly are these options? What do they mean and what do they do? To find out information about the old options, type help set and pipe the results to less to allow easy scrolling and searching. You can scroll up and down using the arrow keys on your keyboard. The help document shows all the options listed with both full option names and in their original single character option modes. For example, notify can also be configured using the -B switch to set. To leave less, type the letter Q. How about shellopt? Unfortunately, the help shellopt command shows minimal information. Instead, we need to look at the entire bash man page for more information. Type man bash, again, pipe the results to less. We can search for strings using the / operator. Down at the bottom of the window, the cursor is displayed with a colon. Type / and then a string to search. You can see it bounced to the section on the set command. Let's search for one of the new options. For example, no case glob. It bounces us to the section for shell opt. Again, type Q to quit. Now for a real demonstration. Imagine you painstakingly created a file with critical information in it. Really, really important data. I'll write that to a file named file. There it is. There's the contents. Then, in your hurry to complete your work, you run another command that generates a file with exactly the same name. Uh-oh. You just overwrote your file. The shell option no clobber can prevent you from accidentally overwriting files. Let's see how the no clobber option is currently configured. It's currently configured off. Now let's enable the no clobber option to prevent accidental file overwrites. We could also have used -S to enable the no clobber option with shell opt. And just verify. Now let's try overwriting the file again. Nope, can't do it. Here's one more example. Suppose you and your colleagues can't decide on a standard way of creating subdirectories. You can try searching for a certain directory using a lowercase p, and it only shows one directory. If you enable the no case glob option, the pattern, or glob p asterisk, will expand to much more using a case-insensitive match. Because no case glob is in the new option set, we can't use the set command, and there is no need to preface it with a -O in shell opt. Let's enable it with the -S option. And then checking again, it lists everything. One last example. Imagine you absolutely needed to create a subdirectory that begins with a hashtag. Why doesn't this work? Because the hashtag symbol defines the beginning of an interactive comment. Bash removes comments from the command line prior to submitting it to the kernel. And so in the above case, then the makedir command has no arguments and throws an error. How do we get around this limitation? By unsetting the interactive comments option. Let's try it again. And there it is. As an aside, I would caution against doing this, as using the hashtag character is extremely common, and you might get yourself into trouble abandoning it. Let's review what we've seen so far. The set command allows us to configure the old options using -O and +O. The set command followed by either only plus or -O will display the options. Including the actual option name will change the configuration, as well as giving exact single character options. Both the old and new options can be configured using the shell opt option. To display options using shellopt, type either shellopt for new options or shellopt-o for the old options. In both these cases, if no option argument is given, the configuration status of all options would be displayed. If an option is given, then only the configuration status would be displayed. To enable an option, you'd type shellopt-s for set, followed by the option. To disable the option, you'd type shellopt-u for unset, followed by the option. In summary, all options are Boolean. That is, they are either enabled or disabled. Options defined by the set command are enabled with -o and disabled with +o. Additional newer options defined by shellopt are configured using -s and -u. Options are only defined in the current shell. They are not propagated to subshells. Only your current working directory and environment variables are propagated to subshells. Current option configuration can be captured to a file using the set+o or shellopt-p and shellopt-p-o. You can later source that file to automatically reconfigure all the options in a new shell. This will be covered in more detail in a future video. Explanations of the options can be found with either help set or man bash pipe to less. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, please email us at staff@hpc.nih.gov.